Hey everybody, many of you have visited KFC at least once in your life, and we ordered such a bucket of chicken. Here you have breaded legs, strips, and wings. It's all really tasty. So we decided to cook the same bucket, just not from chicken, but from ostrich. First of all, we ordered a huge bucket that was made special for us. Inside it has a spacer, as straight as the original. First of all, we cover the bucket with a layer of primer. Done. Now we paint white from the inside. And we cover the outside with red paint. Then we gave the bucket to an artist. You'll see the result later. We go to the store for some ostrich meat. We bought 2 huge pieces of ostrich meat. Throw it into the car. They weigh around 43 kilograms. And the check turned out to be for $760. Then we go to the hypermarket. We load 120 liters of sunflower oil directly into the car with boxes. Now you need olive oil, paprika, ginger, black pepper, basil, oregano, dry garlic, and lots of flour and cornflakes without sugar. The whole full cart cost us $285. We have 2 hefty ostrich legs. They still have the skin on them. It is unrealistically durable, so much so that they make shoes out of it, so it needs to be removed. With one hand we pull off the skin and use the knife to separate it from the meat. There you go. We cut off the unnecessary pieces of fat. Now we've cleaned one leg thoroughly. We repeat the same thing with the second one. When the 2 legs have been perfectly cleaned, you need to separate the shin from the skin. We do everything as carefully as possible so as not to chop the meat. We separate the bone along the joint. And we're left with 2 pieces, bone and flesh. The second one is cut lengthwise into 2 parts. In the future, these will be strips. We divide the second leg exactly the same way. There you go, the cutting's over. We have 2 bones and 4 sirloin pieces. But the fillet doesn't have the same shape we need, so if you like it like that, then it can fall apart. Let's use twine. With its help, we'll tie together a piece of meat. That's how it should turn out. We wrap all 4 pieces like this. And we're done. To make the marinade pass better into the meat, we'll use a thing with spikes. We just use it to punch through the pieces. And then we take a bath like this. Put ground ginger, paprika, oregano and basil into it. Black pepper, dry garlic, lots of salt, mustard, and a liter of olive oil. Now we mix all this up and pour in 20 liters of hot water. The spices will open up better like that. We lower the pieces of ostrich into the marinade. Add more water to cover all the meat. and leave it to marinate overnight. Now it's well softened. We spread some foil onto a table, parchment on top of that, now we get out our future strip. Let the excess marinade drain and put it out onto the parchment and wrap it up. We rack the legs the same way. We do the same thing for every piece. Now take a baking sheet and put sealed pieces of ostrich on it. The first stage of cooking will take place in our huge oven. We put 4 refractory bricks on the cart. We put a baking sheet on top. And put that into the oven. Now we'll leave the meat to cook for 8 hours at a temperature of 180 degrees Celsius. Finally, the time has passed. We'll take it out of the oven. Let's cut the foil and see what's inside. The meat is definitely well cooked. Now we'll open up the rest of the pieces and cut off all the twine. We don't need that anymore. In order to deep fry such huge pieces of meat, you need a large vat and the oil we bought at the store. We open the boxes, we take out the bottles, open them, and pour the oil into the vat. Turns out we pour out about 120 liters. In order to heat this oil, we pour some heated coals into 2 braziers. Now we need to chop some wood. After that, we lay that all out on a grill. Now we just need to keep a good fire going for 2 hours. You'll need a grid like this. On that, we're going to put the meat into the deep fryer. We take 3 plastic basins. In one, we put water. In the second, flour. And in the third, we'll put 3 packs of cornflakes in without sugar. First, we put the ostrich leg into flour and roll it around on all sides. Then we lower it down into the water. And back into the flour. Back to the water. Flour, water, and the last stage is flakes. We're trying to cover the entire meat area with this. The breaded leg is now placed on the grate. According to the same principle, we breaded all the other pieces. The final step is lowering it into the deep fryer. Now we just need to keep the maximum heat so that the oil doesn't cool down. And after about 10 minutes of active boiling, we lift the grate. That's it. The KFC ostrich recipe is ready. By the way, this is how beautiful the bucket turned out after they painted a portrait of Colonel Sanders. We'll fill that with the breaded ostrich. You know, I think it turned out really cool and just like the original. Let's cut off a piece. Hey everybody, I think many people know sweets like Ferrero Rocher. We decided to make one such candy, but of gigantic size. Let's see what's inside it first. It has chocolate with nuts on the outside, then a crispy layer, chocolate paste and hazelnuts. Everything's clear. To begin with, we will buy the groceries we need. We bought milk chocolate, a lot of sugar, 2 boxes of cocoa powder, 2 boxes of butter, 5 kilograms each. We don't need anything else in the store, so we go to the checkout. Our check came out to $190. We also bought a bag of crispy rice, 10 kilograms of peanuts, and a bag of hazelnuts to order. All this cost around $136. We decided to use such large iron cauldrons as molds. For convenience, we bend to the fasteners and remove the handles. We turn the cauldrons over, wrap them with cling film. To make a crispy layer, we'll use the rice. It's as crispy as possible. To get that to stick together, we'll make a caramel. We send half a can of corn syrup into a saucepan, 6 kilograms of sugar. We put that on the stove. Be sure to use a candy thermometer. The temperature needs to reach 146 degrees. Pour out the airy rice and mix that into the caramel. We'll pour this whole mass on top of the mold and try to stick it to the whole cauldron. This is where it all went wrong. The caramel cooled down really quickly and is falling apart, and it doesn't hold its shape at all. And so this is difficult to call these cauldrons normal forms. We decided to redo everything. We ordered acrylic semicircles. We opened them up. And take them out. I think that this is perfect. So to keep everything from sticking to the molds, we spray with oil from a can onto the inner walls of the circle. This time, to get the rice to stick, we'll use marshmallows. We put 2 packs in a bowl and put that into the microwave. They melted down pretty well. It turns out the consistency of an elastic cream. We put the air rice in the same bowl. Combine all this with a spatula. We're left with a viscous mass, and I think we'll be fine with it. Spray some oil onto your gloves so that the marshmallow doesn't stick. And send this mass into the bowl. Now distribute it all around the form. And we continue to do this until we cover the inner walls completely. Done. The next stage is the chocolate paste inside. We take 2 boxes of butter, take them out, and put 2 sticks into a saucepan. We put it on the stove so that it melts. And done. Now we need a lot of condensed milk. This one we have left after the last video. We need peanuts and cocoa. Put the blender bowl on the scales and put 300 grams of peanuts into it. 2 tablespoons of cocoa. We open 2 cans of condensed milk. And pour those in as well. And last but not least, 200 grams of butter. Cover that with a lid and put it into the blender and turn it on. We grind this until we get a homogeneous mass. The consistency of the paste, like Nutella, is quite dense. Using a spatula, we shift the paste into the bowl. We keep repeating this from time to time. And after about 6 hours of work, the condensed milk, butter, and almost all the nuts are finished, and the forms are even less than half full. I had to buy all the groceries again. We continue making the chocolate paste. Now, once the forms are completely filled, it took 8 hours. And finally, this stage is finished. The next layer is the whole nut. We need to make 2 huge halves of hazelnuts. We'll use a lot of this nut. Now, the hazelnuts are raw and don't really smell. To fix this, pour it into 2 baking sheets and pop them in the oven. Let them warm up for 20 minutes to release their fragrance. To hold the nuts together, we'll cook another caramel. The composition is exactly the same. Corn syrup, a packet of sugar, and water. Pop all that on the stove, and be sure to use a candy thermometer. As soon as it's 145 degrees, we take out the finished nuts and put them into the saucepan. Mix them well with the caramel. We move this over to a bowl, which is the same shape as our hemisphere. Done. As soon as the caramel is hardened, we remove the bowl and tear off the parchment paper. We're left with a perfect half of a huge nut, or rather 2. Just put them in the middle of the mold into the chocolate paste. We spread the paste with a spatula so that there's a layer of the same height everywhere. Now this candy is very soft, and if you take it out of the mold, it'll just fall apart. So we send these semicircles into the freezer. That's where they'll cool down, and the chocolate filling will become dense. 2 days later, and the candy is completely cooled. Before you get to it, you need to prepare a lot of things. First, make the packaging. We bought this kind of packaging gold paper. To repeat the design, we crush it with our hands. Then we straighten it back. We unwind the double-sided tape and glue on another sheet. We have 6 in total, and we want to combine them into a huge one. Done. This second stage. For our future outer layer, you need to add nuts. Everything is simple. Put them into a blender and crush until you get like an average fraction. Pour that into another bowl. The third preparatory stage. We take a chocolate bar, open it, and break it. We fill the whole bowl with these pieces. Now we'll melt this in a steam bath. It decreases in volume, so we break more. And that's it. We have a bowl of hot chocolate. Now for last. Make some more chocolate paste in order to glue the halves together. We need to wrap the table well with cling wrap. Finally, you can bring the chilled halves back for the candy. We cut off the protruding air rise. Turn the form over. That's 1/2. Now for the second one. Thank God everything went well and nothing cracked. Spread all this over with a layer of chocolate. The easiest way is to pour the chocolate directly from the layer and spill it with a spatula. Now sprinkle the crushed nuts on top until they stick to the whole candy. And we put another layer of chocolate on top of that. We mix it with the nuts directly with a spatula so that it looks just like the original. Done. It turned out perfectly. And we repeat all this for the second half. As soon as the chocolate is frozen, we cut the food film off and put one half onto a board. Remove the cling wrap and apply the chocolate paste to glue the candy halves together. We put the second one on top. Everything is almost ready, and I feel like this is just as similar as possible to the original smaller version. So let's seal it. Due to the fact that this is paper, not foil, it turned out not very smoothly, and so the final touch is the sticker. Finally, after 4 days of hard work, our giant Ferrero Rocher candy weighing 100 kilograms is ready. I feel like it turned out really well. I calculated its cost. Taking into account of all the additional purchases, it turned out to be $940. Let's cut off a piece.